Hello, I'm Peter Curti, and no, I'm not 16, but the proposed ban on under-16s using social media will still affect me, and it will affect you too. Why? Because your ability to access and share content, like this video, is under real and immediate threat. And it's all thanks to a growing digital bureaucracy that is steadily undermining one of the most important features of our liberal democracy, the implied constitutional freedom of political communication. Without that freedom, everything else begins to erode. In 2015, the E-Safety Commissioner's Office was created to deal with cyberbullying targeting children. By 2017, its remit had expanded to cover all Australians, not just kids. And in 2021, it received a major legislative upgrade with the Online Safety Act. Now, in 2025, we're looking at two new developments: an under-16s social media ban and a quietly introduced regime of search engine regulation. Let's be clear, this legislation isn't just about safety. It represents a shift. The government is now pressuring private platforms to police speech. Take the so-called Australian Twitter files. These revealed thousands of instances where content was removed, even though it wasn't harmful. In fact, much of it turned out to be true, and the power doesn't end there. The E-Safety Commissioner has come under criticism for sidestepping the legal safeguards of the very act that defines her powers. In one key case, concerning a tweet about a queer club at a primary school, the Commissioner issued an informal alert rather than a formal removal notice. Why? Because she mistakenly believed that only formal notices would be reviewed by the Administrative Appeals Tribunal, while informal alerts would sidestep this higher scrutiny. In fact, while only a small number of formal removal notices were issued last year, hundreds of informal alerts were sent out, bypassing scrutiny but having the same chilling effect. Now let's turn to the social media minimum age legislation of 2024. The stated aim of that law is to protect children from harm, things like social isolation, poor sleep, excessive screen time, and mental health issues. And these are real concerns, we all agree on that. But here's the problem. This bill doesn't actually prevent children from using devices. Kids can still spend hours scrolling TikTok or YouTube without even having an account. So the law won't stop the harms it claims to address. Unless, that is, the real harm being targeted is exposure to ideas. In fact, just recently, a new code was registered under the Online Safety Act that now requires search engines to implement age verification. Think about what that means. It's now entirely possible that young Australians won't even be able to search for the work we do at the CIS. They may never come across the other side of the argument on major issues like housing or energy, the cost of living, or the future of democracy itself. So while your search engine is still functional, I invite you to look up rule of law, excessive regulation, and free speech by my colleague Paul Taylor, who's written in depth on these themes. You can also head to cis.org.au while you still can.